What is up, Canada? What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Tesla, Bitcoin, and Elon Musk. I'm actually really excited to dive into this subject matter. It's a really interesting developing story, and it's definitely going to have some long-term repercussions, I suspect. So specifically, what we're going to be talking about today is Bitcoin too dangerous? How did Tesla enter the market? Which other companies have invested in Bitcoin, and how can you get in on the action? So dangers of Bitcoin first. So Bitcoin's been a relatively volatile investment over the last number of years for a variety of reasons. But I understand, the price of the token was up to $25,000 Canadian in late 2017, then plummeted down to about 4,000 Canadian in 2018, and now sits at like a record high of, I think last time I checked, 58,000, but who knows where it's at in this moment. And in addition to the volatility in the markets, there has been a number of Bitcoin scams over the years. In fact, half of my comments come from Bitcoin scammers. So we do appreciate the engagement, Bitcoin scammers, but it would be just wonderful if you'd stop scamming people in the comments. And, Guelph became becoming a bit of a hotspot in regards to actually Bitcoin scams. There were 3 reported scams in November, and in January, another one just a few days ago. So the most recent scam involved an elderly lady who was contacted by someone pretending to be a police officer, informing her that her bank account was in danger of being frozen. She was instructed to withdraw all her money and make a Bitcoin transaction to keep it safe. Obviously, it was not safe. The last issue people have been encountering is getting locked out of their cryptocurrency accounts. So you have like a wallet, right? And a lot of times, or an account, and some people forget their password. Some people just get locked out. They lose the key, and they end up having millions or hundreds of millions of dollars sometimes technically locked up on this key that they simply can't access. But the reason we're talking about Bitcoin today is because of what Tesla recently did when they entered the market. So even with all the risks, of course, Elon Musk couldn't resist the pull of the token. So Tesla is the newest investor in Bitcoin after taking a $1.5 billion stake a few days ago. This prompted prices to jump over $44,000 USD per token for the first time ever. And Tesla also announced that it would be accepting tokens as a form of payment from now on. This to me is huge. So they're one of the big major, like when you get Fortune 500 companies making this sort of commitment, it is going to make waves. And I think it was really intelligent of Tesla to position themselves as one of the first movers here. I think it will also be widely adopted and applauded by their core fan base and Elon Musk's core fan base as well. So it also just makes a lot of sense from a PR stunt, in my opinion. But I think there was also a really smart financial underlying reason. In fact, if you guys didn't watch, last night I did a live stream. So I'm going to encourage you guys to jump over and watch that live stream every Monday night. I just hang out with you guys. We live stream for about an hour, 9:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We spent a lot of time talking about Elon Musk, and I see a lot of opportunities and a lot of upside with what they've done. But let's talk about some of the other players, some of the other investors that are trying to take a big stake in regards to Bitcoin. So there's Silvergate Capital, is a bank that focuses on digital currencies. It's estimated they currently hold 5 billion USD in tokens, with most of their holdings in Bitcoin. Their value has been fueled by the recent surge. Mogo, a Canadian financial technology company, provides cryptocurrency investment opportunities. They've invested 1.5 million USD in Bitcoin since December of 2020. And MicroStrategy is a business intelligence company that bought 250 million USD in Bitcoin in August of 2020. They then proceeded to buy more as the value rose, and their holding total is over 3.1 billion, it's estimated, as of February 8th. And Square's founder and CEO, Jack Dorsey, has also been a fan of Bitcoin, and now it's really paid off. Their holdings total around 1.7 billion USD. Lastly, Galaxy Holdings is an investment company that has seen their Bitcoin holdings increase in value from 176 million USD to 718 million USD. So let's talk about if you guys are interested in getting in on it. And again, I've got my own opinions on it. We talked deep and in depth last night on the live stream, so I won't bore you guys by getting too deep into it today. But there is certainly an increased demand in regards to Bitcoin, and a lot more people are paying attention to it. Predictions for Bitcoin's long-term price range, people throw out all kinds of crazy numbers. I'll leave you guys to do your own due diligence. I'm not even going to throw out some of the crazy numbers that they say, but could it hit that? Absolutely. Could it exceed that? Absolutely. Could it never hit that? Absolutely. It's really a volatile investment at this point in time. I'd love to hear, though, are you guys allocating any significant portion of your assets into Bitcoin? And is this a strategy where you're going to buy once and be done with it, or will you keep adding to your position or rebalancing over time? Love to hear your thoughts and your opinion, but understand there is a fixed supply of 21 million coins or tokens. And surely some bigger companies are looking to sneak into this market now that Tesla has done as well. So if we see a few more adopt Bitcoin in a big way, I'd expect that we're going to see a big rush in where all of a sudden there's going to be a lot of Me Too competitors deciding to piggyback in on this and trying to get in on the action. I also think just in general, understand that right or wrong, there's a huge part of the public right now that feels like they missed out on all that GameStop money. They missed out on that AMC money. And because they missed out on that money, they're looking for the next thing. And I think they're going to see Bitcoin as that next thing. So whether it's fundamentally sound or not, I think we're going to see a lot of people dogpiling into Bitcoin over the year of 2021. This should draw the price even higher. All that being said, my prediction would be that Bitcoin's probably going to be worth more at the end of this year than it is at the start. And yet I've got no interest in accumulating it. Again, this is something we've talked about at length in the past. Really, I like to focus on Peter Thiel's theory of business, right? So if you guys don't know Peter Thiel, the billionaire PayPal founder, and his whole thing is the business creates value and then captures a percentage of that value. And when I'm looking at making an investment, or when I'm looking at starting a business or pivoting a business, I'm constantly focused on, am I generating or creating value? And will I be able to capture a percentage of that value? Me making these live videos right now, that's me trying to generate value. And then when YouTube pays me the time, well, actually, they don't monetize any of these lives. So thanks for that, YouTube. But if in theory they did pay me at least pennies on the view, I would make a penny per view. That's what we usually make on my real estate content. Again, it turns out the news isn't monetary worthy, apparently, according to YouTube. But understand that that's my attempt to create value. Now, when YouTube decides to demonetize my live videos, I'm faced with a choice. I can try and capture the value in a different way, or I can give up on generating that value. If I was to give up on generating that value, that means I'm just going to take my ball and go home and probably pivot and do something else. Alternatively, I could focus on making books, selling courses, starting a company like Cashflow Tribe. I could have a social media agency like I currently do. I could be buying apartments and finding capital partners and accredited investors through these channels as well. So there's a variety of ways that I can focus on trying to capture a sliver of the value I create by generating this content for you guys. And when I'm looking at making an investment in Bitcoin, I don't believe I've got a competitive advantage. I don't understand how I'm creating value by buying Bitcoin. Now, you may argue that if you've got a competitive advantage, if you see something that other people don't see, by allocating your resources into that asset, you're helping balance the information asymmetry, and that is generating value. That's what I'd argue that Roaring Kitty was doing when he was doing his YouTube videos explaining why he thought GameStop was oversold or overshorted. So again, there are ways that you can create and generate value and capture a percentage of that. But for the average investor that's just going to blindly buy Bitcoin in some random account, I just don't see it. But I'd love to hear your thoughts, your opinions. Let me know in the comments, because I know those of you that are bullish, those of you that are hodlers, you're hodling for the long term, and you get very hot and bothered when I talk about cryptocurrency. But again, love hearing your opinions. I see we've got Crypto Tim there in the comments saying that he's dollar cost averaging. Are you dollar cost averaging in or dollar cost averaging out? And, you know, actually it looks like we've got a decent number of comments. Appreciate everyone engaging here. Cryptocurrency and Elon Musk, two of my favorite things to talk about. Should I keep buying more Bitcoins? Okay. I think that's really a personal decision for you. If you believe you've got a competitive advantage, if you believe that you're generating value by buying Bitcoins, then I think it makes a lot of sense. If you're blindly gambling, at least understand you're blindly gambling, and whether it's Bitcoin or black on roulette, either way, enjoy the entertainment value you get by gambling rather than focusing on gambling as an investment. Again, there's nothing wrong with just throwing some money randomly and playing with it, right? I regularly do that with different types of investments and opportunities. I regularly do that with our content creation. I'll go spend $5,000 on this random project just to see if it'll go viral, just to see if I can get some traction, just to see what maybe happens in regards to what I'm doing there. So again, Ethereum to 30,000. I haven't been tracking Ethereum for a while, but that seems like it would be a pretty big jump from the last time I checked in on Ethereum's price. I think I actually do have a little bit of Ethereum on some random wallet on an old cell phone that I'll probably never be able to access. I'm one of those people that's just got somewhere random. But again, the one thing I'm really interested in seeing, so that's interesting, Tim. Tim says dollar cost averaging in, never sell. So that's interesting to me. Now, maybe this is a currency hedge. Maybe this is like the permanent portfolio, and you're simply allocating 10 to 25% of your assets into what you consider hard assets, which oftentimes And the more traditional permanent portfolio would look like gold and silver and other precious metals and things of that nature. I could understand the argument that Bitcoin could replace that, or Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies could, in theory, replace that. In a perfect world, I'd love to see a broad basket of it, because again, that's kind of the point with the permanent portfolio and investing into those hard assets. But otherwise, the one thing that's interesting to me is if and when will we actually see people using Bitcoin really for its intended use as a means of exchange. Right now, it's primarily viewed as a speculation tool, where I essentially view it as a hedge against inflation for a lot of individuals. And I understand the logic behind that. Now, with big players like Tesla entering and them being willing to accept transactions in Bitcoin, it's going to be interesting to see whether users actually adopt this, right? So is everyone holding on to Bitcoin for the novelty and suspecting it's going to go higher, or will people actually really start to transact in it? And when will we hit that tipping point? And if we hit that tipping point, will Bitcoin become the one? Because at the end of the day, it seems unlikely that we're going to have hundreds or thousands of primary players in the cryptocurrency space. Presumably, we'll either see one, a small, like a monopoly, an oligarchy. It seems unlikely that it'd be widely distributed with a bunch of different currencies. Now, again, there are, exchanges and tools you can use to quickly exchange currencies between different tokens. And as that improves, maybe that will allow for more players to have bigger roles in this. But right now, I've got the sneaking suspicion that we'll probably see just a couple of big winners in the near future. However, understand that this is all kind of at the government's largesse. At any moment in time, they could decide to try and boot stomp cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin specifically. Now, would they be successful in doing that? That's a whole nother discussion. But if they decide to make outlaw Bitcoin, understand that the big companies like Tesla are going to be faced with a really difficult position where what do you do in that case, right? And if they're no longer going to adopt it, they're no longer going to accept it, a lot of the momentum that's been experienced up until this point could really, peter out. And so the last thing that I want to just point out here is understanding that this is a very dynamic, very volatile situation during a very dynamic and volatile time in human history. So there's a lot of moving components here. Anyone that thinks that they know with 100% certainty what the future holds, whether it's for Bitcoin, real estate, or any other investment or currency class, I think it's naive. Now, again, I think we can look at situations, we can read into it, and we can make hypotheses and maybe speculate on the probabilities of certain situations occurring. But no one's got a perfectly working crystal ball. If they do, they'd be spending their time on a lot better things than any of the conversations we're having today. So again, really appreciate you guys jumping in the comments, you sharing your opinions. Let us know, are you a Bitcoin hodler? Will you ever dispose of your coins and tokens, or are you going to hold these on to life? And if you are going to hold them onto them for life, do you envision yourself in the future being able to borrow against them? Could I put up my Bitcoin as collateral and borrow against it and then go use that capital to a productive means? Or is this always going to be like dead money that's sitting on the sidelines for you? Let me know in that comment section, because I am really curious. Again, I'm not personally envisioning myself allocating a significant portion of my net assets into any cryptocurrency, Bitcoin or otherwise. But it's always curious for me to see. And I have no doubt that there's going to be a lot of people make a lot of money with cryptocurrencies. There will also be a lot of people lose a lot of money. And it will be fun to watch from the sidelines and eat my popcorn and drink my beer. So anyways, appreciate you guys watching this video. If you got value from this video, smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're new to my channel. Reminder to hit that notification bell, because these get age restricted, because I don't know, apparently the news is age inappropriate for those that are under the age of 18. So again, really do appreciate those of you that sub, that hit the notification bell. And if you're one of those special people that understands that sharing is caring, I really do appreciate it. I occasionally see the shares on Facebook, and it means the world to me. So I really do appreciate it, guys. We'll see you in the next video. And let me know, Bitcoin hodler for life?